Hello friends, welcome to the show Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. Yes, Iraq is getting worse. We're talking about the situation getting more and more serious, causing lots of attention on a day-to-day basis. Every day there's almost a new thing pop up that people find kind of like so frustrated, especially we here as proud Americans facing such kind of a situation we take almost as an insult. Our reporters were killed or slain, were beheaded, and it was the third one already, the third one being an English reporter. So anyway, what should we do? What did we do? What have we done? What should we do? What will we do? What are we capable of doing and yet we're not doing? So in the discussion, I have invited my good friend, a reliable resource of information, and my good support, Dr. Peter Fu, to the discussion. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and glad to be here every time.
All right. I know that international relationship is not your field of expertise, but you are so much concerned about it as we exchange our point of views over the phone. It's really something that's caused everybody a headache. So what's happening in Iraq versus the ISIS? What's your overall comment about what's happening?
Well, you know, as you said, nowadays media, CNN, newspapers, they are reporting these issues every day, all over.
Sure.
So I think if you are watching the TV and CNN, you know that a lot of information there, a lot of information. So we're not going to repeat all the information there, but what we like to do is from the different point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
How to discuss it from just different point of view.
Exactly. Yeah.
My take is that area is extremely complicated, and we're talking about the different religions, Muslim religions that are fighting more than 1,400 years. So it's not a short-time solution in any way or form.
Sure.
So ISIS is very brutal. They beheading people,
Ruthless,
and they are committing a horrific crime against humanity. But there's more beyond that horrific beheading. So this is why that today we're going to discuss from different point of view. What happened before, what happened now, what should we take, and what should we do from this point and beyond? If we analyze the history, we analyze what we're doing now, and we should be able to think about what we should do 1 year, 2 years, 5 years from now.
In other words, you're saying what's happening now is what the core of the thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What had happened before.
Yeah.
All the way along into history, that's the part, right?
Exactly. I mean, take ISIS, for example. Basically, I think the Westerns single-handed created that monster in that vacuum area, okay? The reason I say that is that, look at that region. These ISIS, before they are part of Al-Qaeda groups, and then they don't get along with Al-Qaeda, but they all do not like Iraqi government. So as time goes by, that ISIS is getting a little bit stronger, and they become more brutal. Even Al-Qaeda distanced themselves from ISIS. But when you look at the ISIS currently, we're talking about they probably have no more than, I would say, 20 to 30,000 militants, okay, from what I understand. But the Iraqi government has more than 250,000 of militants, armies. So the point is that they can take Mosul so easily with 800 fighters against 30,000 Iraqi militants.
They backed up.
They basically just threw the weapons and they went away.
Yeah, sure.
The reason for that is that most of the military in Mosul, they are actually Sunnis. Number one, that they don't like the Iraqi government. And number two, they don't want to fight the Sunnis militants either. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of Iraqi troops deserted their military. So this is why that, 30,000 troops, if they cannot fight 800 militants at that moment, what does that say to us? How much of that we can do? Yes, we need to do something, but how much we can do, how much the U.S. and Western coalition can do.
In other words, no matter they have 20,000 or 200,000 or even 2 million of troops or government troops, the Maliki government doesn't do the job. They do not want to do the job, right? So they surrender, That's the thing.
First, they did not include the Sunnis when they have the new government. In fact, from what the media and reported that the Malikis systematically exclude the Sunnis, including the high military officials and government officials. So basically, now remember, in Iraq, Sunnis are the majority. And when Saddam Hussein was in the government, Saddam Hussein is basically, he ruined the country with iron fist. So basically, Shia is a minority. And Shia in Iran is most Shiites also. So a majority of Iraqi religious people, they are Sunnis. So this makes things more difficult. What are you going to do with the majority of the people there?
Correct me if wrong, if I say this. That area is a part of problems. The problem being that everybody fights against everybody.
It looks like so.
It looks like that. Suppose there are 5 people, A, B, C, and D, and E, right? A fights B and C and D with the E as their friends. E fights what? E fights D, C with A as their friends, yet they are common enemies of C and D's. They're kind of all mixed. Part of problem like that for the past 1,400 years, and your attempt to try to make it who's right, who's wrong, the attempt itself is a joke.
Exactly. You know what?
Am I right?
As I mentioned to you before, that before we only know Al Qaeda, and now we primarily focus on ISIS. But in fact, there's many different rebels. ISIS is being one of the main one. Al Qaeda is being one of them. There's another one called NGRT.
NGRT, the new one.
These that we know of, and there could be many other rebels or Islamic extremists, we call that.
Fighting amongst themselves, each other. That's a norm.
So
norm.
We cannot predict if we get rid of ISIS for the time being, for example, that area is not going to be 100% peace. We know that for sure. Okay, we know that for sure.
One way or the other.
They will still have Al Qaeda, they still have NGRT, they still have many other rebels.
And yet, if you look at the map, though, that area is very dangerous. To the north, you're talking about Turkey, right? To the west, you're talking about Syria. And to the east, you're facing Baghdad, right? So they're taking...
I mean the Iranians.
The Iranians right there, right? And towards Iran. And then you're talking about a vacuum there.
Right.
It's a vacuum playground. Anybody can go there and do their things their own way. So amongst themselves, they fight each other. They use the vacuum area as their playground. And it's been not just today, it's been ever since history started, almost over 1,500 years. It's a religious fight. For that area, what you need a demagogue. You need a demagogue. In what they call, in today's term, you call it what is that? It's
iron fist.
Iron fist dictator kind of thing, right? And Saddam Hussein was the one. Forget the part of his right or wrong, his left or right, whatever. He did at that position with Iraq. for years.
Right.
There is no such a thing as what we face now right now.
That's true. That's
so
true.
now explains, do we not need a dictator like Saddam Hussein?
Well, you know what? And the people try to be politically correct. I mean, if we say we need a dictator to rule that area, and people will say no one likes a dictatorship. But the point is that. But the point is that. When Saddam Hussein was ruling Iraq, there's no such a mess.
Yeah, you can
there's
lower
no
down.
such a mess.
You can lower
There's no
down
such a mess.
the definition.
Yeah.
From a dictator, how about a demagogue?
Well,
right?
Yeah.
How about a tribe leader, something like that, who has the reputation being politically right or politically wrong, doesn't matter, but it controls the situation.
Well,
right?
let's just take a step back. When we invaded Iraq,
yes, exactly.
More than 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, that's 11 years ago.
Our goal is to destroy the massive weapon of destruction, which we did not find, by the way. Okay,
which never existed.
Yeah. So whatever intelligence they said they have that, they had that, they didn't find it. Now, the goal of us then was to convert that dictatorship country into modernized Western-like, development country.
Yeah,
but in reality, after 11, 12 years, it's complete chaos. Had we known what happened then and now, I don't think the U.S. would say, invade Iraq.
Exactly,
we'll
perfectly right. You're perfectly
whether
right for saying
Saddam Hussein's good or bad, whether you ruin that with Iron Fist or not, you know what? We just don't want to be involved. Had we known that 11, 12 years ago, I think we would have said, we'd leave that alone.
To exactly share with my audiences, I'm not sure what we're talking about, what we say is right or wrong politically, yet we're talking about the fact, right? We don't care about being right or wrong, but we are telling the fact. The fact is that it had been much better than now.
Stable.
Right?
It's relatively stable.
And in the meantime, the economy kind of better than right now. Everything.
They're
right?
in a war zone now.
Sure. Joining me today in the discussion about Iraq, versus the ISIS, is my good friend, Dr. Peter Fu. And we're trying to peel the onion layer by layer to see what's the inside of the core of the very onion. We know it is very spicy, but how spicy it is, why has it been spicy, why it is so spicy, and why the chaos is created, where and when it started, right? So stay with us. When we come back, we'll find out. About 11 and a half years ago, in March of 2003, when we started the invasion of Iraq, though, did we consider about the outcome, the consequences? Is the fact that we're facing now. So stay with us.